This is why RAM is $500.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
We must build more data centers. The future depends on it. How else will for companies increase revenue? The more server farms we create, the more we can learn about you. We are very interested in your life, babe. Your spending habits, your deepest, darkest desires, your precise location, your political views, your immigration status. We care about you, my love. You don't need drinking water. You don't need a fast computer. When you've got K-pop Demon Hunters Italian brain rip crossover videos, don't pay attention to Minneapolis. It might be AI generated anyways. We need the data to keep you safe from bad guys. Your neighbor might be hiding and illegal, but at least your toaster is powered by AI. Your chatbot loves you. Unemployment ain't so bad. Loker Kenwinley, you have achieved flow state. Your screen time is 12 hours. Life is good.
I wish I could cheer you up, but I can't.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to The Death of the Universe, a podcast that agrees with Trump on at least one thing about what he's done.
I've done so much for Israel.
It is 12:20 in the post-meridium Korea Standard Time, Sunday, March 1st, 2569, Year of the Buddha. You are present tensely allowing entry of these particular sound waves of me, Joshua, how am I not myself, Nomen Mutatio, to pass through the blood-brain barrier into your very mind. And as always, coming to us live, simultaneously, from Malibu's top-of-the-world viewpoint on Stunt Road and the tip-top of the Triforium in LA's Fletcher... Brown, did I misspell this? Boron? That can't be right. Square is Tim. Sir Duncan my balls. Buechner. What's up, Tim?
Oh, it's always, as I say, great to be on the only podcast that's willing to say, I don't care if you have Tourette syndrome, you can't be calling punch the N-word. How you doing tonight, Josh?
Doing great tonight. The eternal night of Korea.
Yeah, well, it's always darkest before the dawn of the next world war. Is that what we're looking at here? I guess.
Yeah, so it's just dark all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we're here under the brand new Operation Epic Furry, more like. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
What was this? Named by one...
Iluma!
Gee whiz, there was like all this stuff prepared right before we started to record. And,
Sure.
The world doesn't, I guess, operate around our recording schedule, shockingly. Catastrophic warfare has broken out within the last few hours, it feels like. I don't even know. It's kind of all I was unable to pull myself away from yesterday. Then I fell asleep and I woke up and kind of immediately continued where I left off.
Right.
This sucks. This is the way to live. But, news, views, you got to do it. But before we get to any of that, I guess, as we like to do, in the old Amuse-Bouche section, got some things to talk about. It's so funny how every single thing on this list, I mean, like, this part, obviously, the deal is, obviously, these are, like, less consequential news events happening. That's the bit, I suppose. But sure. Everything else, even like all the shit about Epstein and ICE that's like been building up all week as usual, I don't know, somehow looks so I don't know, like it's paling in comparison.
Trivial.
Or something.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of the layout of the episode as like there's like the moral, like concentric circle thing that I've heard about, where it's like the smallest central circle is the self, and then from out there, from then it's self, family, whatever, community, nation, world, and you go all the way up to like all sentient life and all that kind of stuff. But it's like that with tragedy and the news.
Sure.
And I was wondering, should I start with like the least horrible shit or start with the most horrible shit? And I don't know. I couldn't really figure it out, but I was thinking about this moments ago, last-minutely putting these things together. But Amuse-Bouche. Breaking. Human brain cells on a chip learned to play Doom in a week.
I mean, okay. When I first saw this, I got excited, but I'm like, call me when they're playing Doom Metal. I don't care about them playing video games. I want to fucking jam.
with your brain, with just
I want the brain cells on the chip figuring out how to hit some solid licks,
So yes, a clump of human brain cells can play the classic computer game Doom.
Is that? I mean, was this something we were not sure was possible? I don't know. People play that video game, right? Like being like a piece of a. I don't fucking know. Whatever. I guess.
A solid question here, which I think you're getting at, is who is this for? Who asked for this?
Who was asking for this?
And I'm pretty sure from the intense research I did on this, this New Scientist here article, none of this like has any, because some of this bullshit, it's like, oh my god, what a waste of fucking time and money that was.
Sure.
But then you find out like, oh, there's actually some possible applications for curing cancer or whatever. But they don't even like, kind of pretend with this one as far as I could see.
Right.
But I guess I just thought this article seemed particularly, well, obviously like the headline is very classically surreally dystopian, the bread and butter here. Sure. But it also just seems, in light of every single other thing going on in the world, to be, an incredible waste of time. And it also is just like plays into all of this weird transhumanism, Peter Thiel type ambitious nonsense bullshit that will maybe kill us all. Who knows?
Right.
But it's probably enough about that. Unless if you're dying to
know, I mean the
details of how human neurons manage to play a first-person shooter game. I always thought like maybe the choice of game was kind of funny in a way.
Sure.
It's like we can start training children as early as like blastocists how to have good hand-eye coordination when they too become mass shooters.
Sure. I mean, I guess that's a point too, right? You can get, it's just a way to get, like, to start the training earlier and earlier for esports or whatever, when you're just like a clump of cells, they can get you started. Because, you've got a limited amount of time when they've got the possible reflexes to make it as like a pro, in the esports, leagues. So the quicker you can get them trained, the quicker they can, convert into their career and then eventually retire at the ripe old age of like 12 or whatever it is.
Or perhaps this is a deep, long con,
right.
Leftist op, because... Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of Wolfenstein. Never mind, scratch all this. I was like, because in that game you kill Nazis, so, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
The one thing I was going to say, too, is you said, like, bread and butter, and I would say, just to stay on theme with the topic, that maybe it should be chips and queso, because the brain is on a chip. But, other than that, I mean, what else do I got?
You doing all right, man?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
I maybe extrapolated that out in the catastrophizing way that my mind tends to, and I was like, sure. Oh man, Tim's really wondering what else does he got left in life.
Yeah, right.
All right, moving on. I think we talked about on a recent-ish previous episode, maybe the one that I still need to put out. There's still one left in the back catalog there, folks. Look out for that. I mean, I guess presumably it's already out once you're hearing this, but we talked about like the the shocking consequences of allowing chatbots to decide how surgeries should go. If you recall, Senator.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But like, I don't know, I guess building off of that, I think what I wanted to kind of get into for weeks now, cause after I saw this one article about how there was this controversy within the South Korean government about like what is covered by the national health care insurance, and like the current president of the country is like apparently very passionate about balding treatment, and described it as a matter of survival and so on. Which you could like almost like his roundabout argument was like, because there is like a massive birth rate crisis here.
Sure.
Like the man's out there needs to be looking their best with a full head of hair. But yeah, people are arguing about that. But anyway, it just got me thinking also about the general idea of like, so like when I see that, I'm just like, comparing that to a nation like the US where, I don't know, whatever numbers you want to focus on, they're all pretty bad as far as I'm concerned. Let's say 40 to 70,000 people a year die simply from not having adequate health insurance coverage or having none. Then you compare that with... And you know what? It wasn't even just balding treatment. It was like a very specific type of non-medical balding treatment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I started looking into like what were some controversies or like just in countries that have otherwise very solid healthcare compared to the United States, which is like basically every other country in the world. And a lot of them, I guess, are kind of predictable. None of them are like necessarily funny, but it just think about these things and then compare them to the alternative of just dying from a easily curable disease or something. In the U.S., on the other hand, so yeah, a lot of this stuff comes down to like cosmetic. So, like in the UK, there was some big debate about cosmetic versus medical dentistry. In Germany, there was some controversy about covering circumcision. a lot of things too come down to like alternative medicine. Like people, certain segments of whatever populace, or like probably in Europe. I'm just gonna guess. I don't know, but yeah, they're basically getting into arguments over like like alternative, like homeopathy or whatever. Like, which yeah, I mean, like, of course that would be a stupid thing to cover by insurance, I would say. Yeah, just the comparative debates are kind of dizzying to think about sometimes. As someone who's lived in the land of the free, except for healthcare. Yeah, and there's some more just like super petty arguments that went down, but whatever. We can move on beyond those examples.
Free healthcare isn't free, you know? It takes a lot.
Who's going to pay for that?
People have to sacrifice. Oh, I was doing the like freedom isn't free, like country music singer style. Like, it takes a lot from the working man to, a lot of men have to lay down their their lives at the altar of the healthcare system to get you that free healthcare you think you deserve or whatever. So show some respect to the troops on the front lines, which I guess is me and other healthcare workers. We're the troops on. Anyways.
I'm confused by the metaphor.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit.
I started, it really is not, making a lot of sense across the board there.
The people laying down their lives are the people just like being murdered by the healthcare companies, right?
No, it's the hardworking, healthcare workers who have to sacrifice their, because for there to be free healthcare, it has to be, that me, the healthcare worker, doesn't get paid or whatever, I guess. So I have to sacrifice my well-being to be because that's the argument that they love to make. Oh, libertarians, how is healthcare gonna be free? You mean you're gonna make doctors work and help people and they're not gonna get paid? Like, I always love when they make that argument. Like, come on, man.
I honestly don't even know if I've heard that one. Like, the doctors aren't gonna get paid.
Yeah, libertarians they'll make that kind of argument. They're like, oh, you're gonna have to coerce healthcare workers to do the job for free without getting paid. That's the only way that you can have free healthcare. That's their argument, and it's like, you are a baby-brained moron. You're literally, have you done anything? Have you ever ridden the bus and you're like, damn, this bus driver's not getting paid because I didn't pay to get on the bus? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that's I thought I'd heard and seen it all, but I guess it's nice to be proven wrong on that. There is something new under the sun, and it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I mean, I guess that argument really isn't any any worse than how you gonna pay for that style arguments, but
right. Or what's next? I need a license to make toast in my own toaster. That kind of. That's the libertarian mind at its peak.
No, it's not a license. It's a coin slot where you get to live in the Philip K. Dick Ubik universe, where everything costs an Ayn Rand credit or whatever the fuck coins they're gonna have in the libertarian utopia. And on the healthcare topic, generally speaking, this is just a brief update, I suppose, on a little Italiano bambino we know as Luigi Mangione. Apparently there's some problems with the fact that Pam Bondi is trying to put him to death for terrorism, because something about the shooting he allegedly committed makes it so much worse than just regular old murder. Like shooting a lady in a car for turning the wheel slightly to the right. Not terrorism.
To be fair, you know me, I always like to argue in defense of our proud men in uniforms. Of course, I'm talking about ICE agents. She wasn't shot for turning the wheel. She was shot for refusing to listen to an unidentified paramilitary person shouting unintelligible directions into her car window. That's why she was murdered, right? You should know to do what I say, even though what I say makes 0 sense.
And you're surrounded by several of me.
And we're all shouting
all
different
packing
things.
heat.
And all telling you to do different stuff. Have you seen those videos where it's like one ICE agent is telling someone one thing and then another one is telling them the other one until finally they just get killed? It's like, oh, okay, cool. This is a fun game we've been playing.
I feel like I've seen that for sure. I mean, I've seen some version of that with law enforcement. As I'll as I regret calling them just now. You know, it's in scare quotes there. So-called law enforcement. There we go.
Call them unlawful enforcement. Because what they're doing is unlawful.
They truly do not overstand the enforcement that they're... Anyway. No, the deal with the Pammys Bondis shit is just rank obvious corruption. Mangione's lawyers in a new court filing late Friday night argued that this is actually a little bit of old news. I apologize to that one guy whose comment got stuck in my head so bad that now every time I read something from more than 7 days prior, I have to fucking reference it. Okay. They argued that Attorney General Pammys Bondis should have recused herself from his federal murder case because she used to be a partner at a lobbying firm that represents United Healthcare, which employed the man he is accused of killing. Miss Pamela Bondi, when reached for comment, said, "Excuse me?" No, none of that happened. But no, what was the RM drop of her yelling? I can't remember it now. Was it "excuse me"? I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I don't even know if I have to go beyond that at all. She worked directly for the company that Luigi was targeting, clearly. Like, he was more targeting the company, allegedly, than the singular CEO, allegedly. But what was her reaction, if any? I believe there was probably just none, because these people, like, every article nowadays, like, more often than I think it used to, tends to end with, like, reaching out for comment. But it's like, when you're reaching out to comment for comment to, like, I don't know, certain like, in other types of stories, like, say, like a tabloid rag story, and it's like, well, Justin Bieber declined to comment on this. It's like, okay, I get that. But when it's like, you're the top lawyer of America, it seems a little less excusable to me to not even give a shitty answer. But anyway, that's the world in which we live. Ever more so each day. And as the notes
I, for one, appreciate it.
As the notes say here, reminder, healthcare, please. Thinking of, I don't know, those memes.
Oh, yeah. Money, please.
Healthcare, please. I'm wasting away. Now, how does Sully land the plane here? Segway wise. He doesn't. Who cares? Snowball scandal. This was funny.
Oh, yeah.
This was also totally, there was seriously more outrage about this. Way more. I don't even know how to measure it. If we could measure it, we'd be shocked, folks. The meter would explode. Way more outrage from the right about Snowball Gate. A couple days prior than, let's say, vaporizing 80 plus girls in an elementary school in Iran. But I digress. I guess we'll get back to that. No, I mean, this snowball thing, I don't know. This was kind of everywhere. You must have seen this shit, right?
Yeah. I saw that they said that the officer in question who got the snowball thrown at them by the child, he suffered from lacerations, which I thought, that's, people were saying that sounds ridiculous, but when I heard it, I said that makes sense because, it was orations because he's a bitch, when they call him lass in Ireland or whatever. Well, anyway, that was my takeaway.
He's like a little girl, folks.
Yeah, he's an Irish woman, and that means that we do not respect him. Except for that, they made a whole movie about that. That Disney movie with, was it Brave, with the Irish, princess who rides a horse or whatever.
Oh yes,
That's what he is.
the archeress.
Yeah, archeress.
I've never seen that one, but
me neither.
somehow know enough to say archeress. I mean, what happened? Weren't people just having like a fun snowball? What was it? I can't even remember.
Yeah, they were just, some kids were just throwing some snowballs around. A cop got hit with it.
It was like an organized event, though. Even it was like, so it wasn't even like a spontaneous eruption of snow violence.
Right.
It was like planned on like online. Like people like RSVP'd on about it. People went to the park, they threw snowballs at each other, and the cops were like, "What the fuck is all this?" And then they got hit with a couple errant snowballs. I mean, funnier and better than that. People just started pelting them, it's true. But they were pelting each other. It's a fucking snowball fight. Yikes. And yeah, so obviously certain people are looking for any reason to show that Mamdani is destroying the nation from New York. And what more proof do you need, folks?
Yeah.
Cops got hit with snowballs. And it's also, I couldn't help but think about the fact that all of the fucking griping and all of the fucking soy fascists that were shooting off about this, it's about snow. You got your snowflake idea here. It's coming full circle. It's all coming together.
Well, I was wondering, like, should we even give in or join in with the meme of referring to it as Mamdani stand or whatever? Is that should we join in with that ilk or
what is, I don't, I guess, wait, what do you mean? What's like the
people are calling New York Mamdani stand?
Oh, okay.
Mamdana stand. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, that is so stupid that it's definitely worth saying, ironically, non-seriously. But, yeah. The fact that people think that's a good one hurts my mind. And then just to, I'm trying a little bit here, folks, to like pepper in some not horrifying shit into the notes. So just on the subject of snowballs, never forget the time Michael Rappaport was live streaming himself in the middle of saying, "In all this fucking cancel culture," and in the middle of that sentence, he gets pelted in the head with a snowball very hard, and it is one of the funniest things I will ever see. And I believe he's pelted in the head and then told to shut the fuck up in a way that sounds real, because I've heard some speculation that this was a staged video. I can't let myself believe that. There's too much conviction and frustration in the sound of that guy saying, "Shut the fuck up," after hitting him in the head with the snowball.
You know, this whole crap with this cancel culture and the...
Shut up! Shit! Shut the fuck up! Nobody wants to hear it.
Fucker.
You've been talking all fucking week. You don't care what you have to say, just stop talking.
You got me right in my fucking head, asshole.
Stop.
Damn it.
Well, and everybody knows that, one of the core 5 elements of hip-hop includes, snowball throwing. So, of course, Michael Rappaport had to respect that. He said, we in the boogie down Bronx, and of course we all know that hip-hop was built on the backs of throwing snowballs, man.
And then, as the other, just free-range mental associations here led me to, Michael Rappaport, even more so than the throwing snowballs pillar of hip hop, the top tier, the number one, the pillar.
Zionism?
The pillar is Zionism. Yes, you're right. I do change. Okay, second to Zionism. Zionism is the first pillar.
Yeah.
But the sexy act of snowballing is number 2. Real 90s kids and hip-hop heads will remember snowballing, which I remembered that I think I first discovered the concept of. I should be very careful, I guess, to say the concept of when I was, 12 years old and watching Clerks in 1994.
Right.
Yes, the concept. Not the act itself. Not so young.
Especially not while sitting at home watching Clerks alone as a teenager. I wasn't getting snowballed while I was watching Clerks, unfortunately.
And then speaking of other places you might get snowballed, an Australian rave in, I don't know, the early 90s. Headline, Greece's former finance minister, Yanis Varoufakis, as I'd like to call him, has been indicted after admitting on a podcast that he took an ecstasy pill at a rave in Australia in his 20s.
Sure.
And even just because I respect the man and he seems like kind of a cool intellectual type, not a button down boring one.
Sure.
I kind of expected that some of the podcast stuff he said would be a little more hell yeah, drugs. Drugs rock.
Right.
But even and then of course, who would give a shit? I mean, this whole thing is obviously absurd and ridiculous, but and yeah, he's just being targeted for his political beliefs. He's a no good commie. He's started an outsider political party in Greece. He's very outspoken on all kinds of issues like Gaza, etc., etc., etc. But even in this article, it describes the what he actually said. The 64-year-old said ecstasy was, quote, a terrific experience, but caused him week-long migraines, adding, "There is a price to pay." Well, that's his wild ass drug story that is getting him legally indicted. I assume this will come to nothing and that this is just trying to kind of threaten him. But the article that I saw didn't get too deep into it. Maybe more will come out when some kind of actual trial happens. But I just thought that was kind of funny, and I'll maybe find any excuse to shout out my main man, Giannis.
Sure. I would say that this would be a great place for a certain drop that you recently made that would describe the kind of people that were at that Australian rave with Yanis Varoufakis, but
I completely forgot about the existence of drops. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait, which one are you talking about? I'm just curious.
Let's just say that at the Australian rave, Yanis Varoufakis was surrounded by some didgeridoo brothers.
True. Giannis was quoted as saying,
"Go back to the club."
And
perfect. That's a place for didgeridoo brothers to meet up.
Yes.
That's it?
Yes, he did. All right. War, Scourge.
What is it good for? podcast topics.
True. I mean, I feel like we could just talk about the name of this fucking thing for the rest of the episode.
Right. What is it? It's Furry Road.
You know how I landed on Operation Epic Furry was just because Operation Epic Fury sounds so fucking Illumazian.
It's fucking soy. It's fucking 2020's Reddit ass bullshit. Yeah, for sure.
And Illuma, as some might remember, when he was all anyone could talk about at the beginning of 2025. Just all kinds of dumb, stupid shit surfaced about it. It was like that picture of him like at a furry party or whatever. I think that's where my mind went with it. Anyway, I really, for maybe 3 seconds, I thought, because I saw this the name of the operation, I don't know, on like Reddit or something. So I was like, this could easily be a joke. I had to check to make sure it was real. And then it's one of those things where it's like, yes, of course it is. Why do you disbelieve anything insane that you see anymore?
Right. What, the weird thing is like that people are just going to continue to post through it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, like my Twitter is all talking about fucking wrestling shows still. It's like,
I mean, as much as I like,
what the fuck are you doing? Everyone's going to die.
There's a certain amount of, relatability to people just throwing their hands in the air. But I'm not going to say I, like, fully morally defend it, of course. But, like, I don't know. There's a little bit of sympathy there because I drive myself near permanently insane every week. Even when I'm not doing the podcast. Even when I'm, like, more casually scrolling the news. But,
even without LSD readily available.
Right. So, I mean, to sum up what I think about all of this shit and all the people behind it.
I don't wish death upon anyone, kind of, but...
I mean, the simplest way, perhaps, just to also sum up said feelings about all this is, often reference Caitlin Johnstone entitled a post. I assume she's referring to these developments in Iran as
Maybe.
Fuck everyone who made this war possible. And it's a pretty exasperated post. One thing within the post, though, that I saw that was interesting to me is there's just like a shot of a tweet from the official GOP account, and this was back in wait, hang on a second. Anyway, whatever. This was during the election because it's Trump and JD, and then in big bold letters in front of them, the only words, the pro-peace ticket. And like,
oh sure,
I've heard people say, I understand, like they ran, like I've heard people say they ran on a pro-peace ticket, right? And like, yes, I know they would say shit that sort of signaled that they're going to end wars. And I mean, they said it explicitly all the time, but they would contradict themselves and whatever. But
well, and a core tenet of this podcast that we've made very clear is that you can't end wars if you never started them. So.
Exactly. That really is the the magic trick jujitsu move. Wait, is that what people say? You know, the fighting sports. What's that? Jujitsu, not judo, right? Okay.
No, yeah, jujitsu. Yeah, you got it.
Got it. My point was just that I'd never actually seen like official propaganda that said it so loud and clearly before, like that. Right. Which kind of, I don't know. Again, it's that it blew my mind for a millisecond, and then, of course, it didn't really. But she ends this article the following way. Actually, she ends it with a Frank Zappa quote. Hang on.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. This feels like on par with a George Carlin quote. But no, she does that. She just says, fuck the USA, fuck Israel, fuck Trump, fuck Netanyahu, fuck Zionism. And, it feels it feels a little nice for half a second to at least see a few more people outside of yourself feeling the same way. But
right.
I mean, that's also the most crazy making thing about all this shit. Not just this current war, but, you know, all the bad stuff.
Sure. At least you know that... The good thing is at least we know that you're not crazy and that everyone sees that this is all terrible and we're gonna die. That's at least you have some kind of solace.
Yeah, because I including myself, I guess, but like, and I hear this in like a lot of other commentary. People are focusing on a lot on like opinion polls and stuff, and like, I mean, it is important to some degree. You know, opinion polls are whatever, not can be manipulated, but there's some approximation there worth whatever. But this focusing on the like 70-30 split in America, like, that I've definitely referenced before, of like, it feels like at least 70% of people aren't so bad in this country, and I think the polls
more
are
than
like,
that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, the polls on this specifically, I think, were like as low as 5% approval of going to war with Iran, and then at max like 20 in, you know, various polls, but. Anyway, obvious fact, we don't have a democracy and so on, but...
Right. It's the core, you know, the whole, you know, abolish the Senate kind of thing, right? Where it's like, yeah, like you said, it's not a representative democracy, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah. That reminds me, we still do need to abolish that Senate. To abolish. Yeah. Did I say abolish?
It's crazy. You need to abolish that damn Senate, boy.
I mean, this got me thinking about the general U.S.-Israel dynamic. I mean, I think, to me, like, obvious answers here could point towards things like Trump is almost certainly blackmailed by various people who have an interest in, say, bombing Iran. That almost certainly existing blackmail, plus, you know, the hundreds of millions in direct bribes from the Adelsons. But the thing that keeps driving me insane, I mean, and this isn't just starting now, people have been saying this for a while, but like this kind of like backwards, they have the dynamic backwards. And I have here the notes, just examples of people that I feel like do this a lot. You've got your Young Turk, Anna Kasparian. You've got your libertarian who's good on one issue, Dave Smith, your Candy Owens, and so on, who seem to really believe that the United States is the victim. The United States government is the victim here. We're just being puppeted by Netanyahu, and like to some extent, it's true. That's what's like the frustrating thing about explaining it. And it seems to me like almost more like there's this like feedback loop, but like. The prime mover is still so obviously the United States government.
Right.
As people have pointed out many times, you like turn off the flow of funds to Israel from the United States, not just for weaponry, just period. And
right.
That place is gone in like a month.
Yeah.
Someone, please do that.
Right. Which is like the main, you know, that's like the main anti-Zionist like talking point from even the, like you were saying, like the, you know, 70% or whatever, like the polling, this and that, like even the like, well, I should say especially the far right, like Groyper adjacent, you know, people are like anti-Zionist, anti-Israel for that like being the main reason. Even if you like discount whatever, you know, truly anti-Semitic takes that like a Nick Fuentes right has, it's like, you know, the basic tenet is like, why are we wasting so much of our money on a different country when we have so many issues here in America that we could be taking care of?
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like, I guess I'll take that over just the full bore like warmongering, the little blood sluts like Keg's Breath and Lil Marco, I guess. But then I don't know. It still seems like a problem to me because I didn't even see exactly what it was. Anna Kasparian tweeted something the other day, right? That people were all like, "Oh, look, she's just like straight up an anti-Semite now." Did you see any of that?
Oh yeah, I did.
Like the Goyim, whatever. I forget.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, and I don't even necessarily, even if you're not anti-Semitic, whatever. But like, it doesn't help the cause of Palestinian liberation. I think to talk about ending the destruction there, or at least ending our part in the destruction there. That's the big difference. Is like when Nick Fuentes says we need to stop giving money to Israel, he doesn't give a fuck if Israel like raises the funds to replace the U.S. funds from somewhere else. So it's like effectively fucking over Palestine either way. But I don't know. I don't mean to lump in all these people together. Like Anna Kasparian and Dave Smith are a different sort than your Fuentes and Candy Owenses, I suppose. I mean, they are for sure. And your Tuckers, your Tuck Carlsons.
Cut your meat.
I didn't even watch the video. I think it was maybe a Sam Cedar Majority Report. Just a headline I scrolled by.
Never heard of it, man.
But it was like Tucker Carlson's anti-Semitism exposes. Who did he interview? Mike Huckabee's Christian Zionism. And I saw a couple of like the most shared clips of that interview or whatever, and it was just nauseating on like all fronts too. That's the thing is like I'm not gonna like praise Tucker Carlson for like doing some gotchas on this guy that I could do as well, but from a more principled position. I mean, it's like okay, but is how much of the enemy of my enemy? I don't know.
My thing is like I'm not saying like, oh, Tucker is good and he's a good guy or whatever. He fucking sucks. He's a shitty person. But it's like praise him for what he's good at, which is just basically being a weird ass troll, right? He basically does like buy your logics like the establishment right wing people like Huckabee who absolutely deserve it, right? And that's all that clip was. That's what he was doing. So like I said, I mean, I'm not praising him like saying I like Tucker Carlson, but I would say like, yeah, he deserves credit for being good at that because basically what he does is he's built a community of followers, views equal news style, he gets clicks that can't be ignored, but then like he basically does like a less directly comical version of like Sacha Baron Cohen / like a Borat thing where it's like these people go on his interview show and they just unfortunately have to deal with the fact that he's not going to play by their rules of what they would expect an interviewer in his of his stature to play by, which is just to directly like do that to, like I said, he just buy your logics Huckabee into looking like an idiot. I'm trying to remember who it was that he did the whole was it JD Vance or who was it the whole
Ted Cruz?
You don't know how many people Ted Cruz, yeah, you don't know how many people live there, but you want them all dead or whatever, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, he deserves credit for what he does. He's good at what he does, but that doesn't make him a good person or like laudable or anything. But yeah, like he's talented at the role that he serves, and nobody else serves that role, right? There's nobody else who does what Tucker does. Which also includes running a tobacco / nicotine company that sponsors Red Scare after Dasha gets canceled. You know what I mean? Like, wow. That's also part of who Tucker is.
Now that's what we should have led with.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are we talking about this Iran bullshit? Oh, man. We got to do a whole fucking deep dive on
It was brutal because they did like an ad read for their it's like Zen, but it's like Tucker branded Zen or whatever.
Cut your meat.
A crazy concept to even think of. And they it's the first time they've ever done any kind of advertisement on Red Scare, and it was like brutal. It's like, oh, this is why you guys don't do ads, because it was basically Anna was trying to do Come Town tributes. Not Come tributes, which is a whole other thing. You know, like their style of ad read mixed with just like them just being fucking obnoxious and stupid or whatever you say. Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. But either way.
Not to yuck anyone's yum. Also a phrase that I fucking am repulsed by.
Yeah.
But cum tributes are fucking awful.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense either. I don't understand. What do you get from this?
It profoundly depresses me to every once every 4 months when I look at pornography and if I happen to scroll by one of those, it just bums me out for the rest of that fiscal quarter or whatever till the next one.
God damn, that just made me. I can't even. We just have to move on. That almost led me down a diatribe on some other shit that's just not worth even.
Go for it, man. We're actually practically done here.
No. I mean, okay. Just cum tributes to me are like, they're just a step away from. Did you hear the story of the like elementary school teacher that would like mix his jizz into baked goods and then feed it to kids?
Oh, yes, of course I did. I saw that in the Epstein files.
Yeah, it's like, what is the like that level of abstraction is just like, man, you got to get yourself some Jesus. I don't know what's going on, but like, why? What is like? I just want. Basically, I just want someone to rub on my nuts until jizz comes out of the end of my dick. That's what I'm looking for. I don't need all this other weird shit. Like, what are you... Why do you add these fucking layers of abstraction? What is wrong with you?
It feels sad to me, and repulsive. But, that's just me. Mine, you too.
It's gross. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I was gonna say, just about the point about people like attacking Israel, but for the wrong reasons. Tucker Carlson being a prime example. I didn't think you were saying like I didn't think you were saying he's a good person or anything either, just for the record. But I'm more referring to like media people, like Jimmy Dore types, or post left, right? I guess it's who it is. Yeah. It's just the post left people. The Red Scare is a prime example,
right?
But what's hilarious about that?
Well, no, I wasn't like defending myself like I thought I needed to defend myself. I was just like kind of playing a devil's advocate argument to be like, you can praise him for doing what he does, I guess.
Okay, I hear you. Like, I mean, I get he serves some purpose in that way, and perhaps like I don't know, moving, right. The MAGA fold closer towards something less insane, I guess. But I just think also if people are going to talk about his role as a media person, he's also hugely destructive, awful person. Who I think wants to be president at some point. So I've got my eye on you, motherfucker. Because I heard the advice you gave to Ted Cruz that one time.
Cut your meat.
It's very unfair.
That's right. Yeah. Well, he was telling Mike Huckabee that if he's going to be living in Israel, he's going to have to cut his meat. But yeah, I mean, basically, I think that the best way to describe like the Tucker, what I'm saying about Tucker is basically like, there's somebody out there who is like the best in the world at like bovine insemination or whatever, and like they deserve praise for being good at their job, but that doesn't mean I want to watch it,
Sure. But then I guess my point to tack onto the metaphor is I don't want the inseminator to be hugely influential over the minds of millions of people.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, that would be a step up from some of these fucking clowns. Mm-hmm. These Washington clowns.
That's what they should have called that football team. Did you see this? This is Newswire_US. They tweeted this out a couple hours ago around the time probably we were starting recording, that said, U.S. strikes in Middle East use Anthropic's Claude despite Trump's ban hours before.
Holy shit. That's insane.
Isn't that
so
cool?
that is the most.
Isn't that cool?
That is the most, like, I'm going to strangle you with my giant, epic furious penis type move. Considering the news that came out, like, what, hours before that one? About Anthropic, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I even had... I thought about talking about it, but there's just too much shit. But, I mean, just to summarize it, Anthropic basically was not playing ball well enough with the admin when it came to using their tech for... trying to remember this off the top of my head, but it was basically like they weren't even... It's not like it's... Don't get it twisted. Anthropic was not being fucking peaceniks here. They were just saying, like, we don't want to just open our technology to be used in an open-ended way for any kind of fully automated weaponry. It was, like, pretty specific. They weren't saying, like, we don't want to be a part of the military-industrial complex. Which, again, this almost ties into the way I get kind of pissed when I hear post-left people, like, embracing Tucker as a fucking comrade or whatever. It's like, Anthropic is not your friend either, motherfuckers. But, man, that is hilarious. That Trump is just like, I'm just gonna... I mean, why not? We're literally taking fucking oil tankers from the ocean into the sky to another place, draining them of their oil, selling the oil, putting the oil money into a private Qatari bank account that Trump himself has access to.
It's so good.
So why not take a couple of nerds' toys and force them to be used for killing? Why not? Right. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, like you said, like the whole point of it is, or not the whole point, but, like, you know, part of the whole thing is that, you know, Anthropic wasn't saying that they have an issue with us, with, you know, them using it, right? So, you know, it's kind of like, what do they care? But yeah, the idea that that, like, a Trump, even something like that, like a Trump, like, ban of whatever, it's just like, it's absolutely not even worth, you know, it's not even worth the bits that he tweeted it on, if you want to say, you know, to use the vernacular of fucking, you know, the poster in chief. Like, nothing he says means anything, to the point where it's like, yeah, we can't use it anymore, but, you know, we're already in the middle of this, so we can finish this up and then we'll go from there. It's like, it's absolutely nothing he says means anything at all. Absolutely zero. And, like, somehow like, if the Biden thing wasn't enough, you know, Biden being president while being just absolutely completely, like, demented, like, Trump is just, like, really, like, you know, kicked the extra 2-point, did the 2-point conversion, you know, after the touchdown, to just make it very clear, to drive home the point that, like, the whole shit is on roller skates. Like, the president, who is the president, absolutely does not matter. And, you know, I agree / believe the whole idea that, like, Nixon was the last, like, true president who was able to actually control anything, and after that they just automated the whole thing to make, you know, they, quote unquote, you know, automated the whole thing just to make sure that nothing like that could happen again. But it's just so fucking obvious now at this point. That it's just like, yeah, that guy, whoever is the president, like, it's just meaningless.
Well, I mean, I think I have a one-word rebuttal to the idea that everything he says is meaningless.
Somalia!
That's right, folks. I mentioned Joe Biden there in my little diatribe, and one thing did cross my mind today that I was, like, gonna bring up at some point, maybe, or just mention, is that Joe Biden...
Sighting.
Good friend Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe. Oh yeah, our word Biden. He showed up recently. That he named his son Bo, almost like he was trying to do the thing where you transpose the first letters, and, like, his son was gonna be Bo Jiden, but he wasn't able to be Bo Jiden, so he was just Bo Biden. But yeah, I thought about that. I was like, that's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. He almost, like, I bet he wanted to name his son Bo Jiden, but they wouldn't let him.
Oh man, you made me think of so many drops, but it was too fast to get to them. Anyway, I was going to say that I agree with the diatribe, indeed.
Fuck everybody. Amen.
Yes. That is correct.
Fuck everybody, amen.
Cause life is precious, and God and the Bible.
See, those two go together well.
That's a good one.
Where are we at? Oh, warfare, horrifying warfare, and the relationship between the U.S. and Israel. Anyway, I mean, this is something we kind of talked about in the past. Anyway, like it's just if people would just stop fucking saying it all the time, I'd stop having to say it's wrong. So I blame Anna Kasparian for this. There was all this shit was happening earlier, but like it's very relevant, obviously. But like how Trump has been the last couple of weeks, I feel like maybe just bringing up Obama's record on extrajudicial killings and all the cool stuff Obama did that liberals loved at the time and dislike now, sort of, kind of, maybe not really. But he's basically just out there being like, Obama did this. Obama did it. What's the problem? But then even funnier than that is I don't have it in front of me, but I did see a thing that it collected like all of the, or at least many tweets over the years, like starting in like 2011 maybe, and like maybe continued like every year after that until right this moment basically. Is well, no, that wouldn't be true. Up until Trump became president, then I guess he probably stopped talking about this. But he would always say, like, whenever shit was going bad for Obama or whatever, oh, he's gonna start a war with Iran to distract everybody. Like that's how you do it. That's how you do it, folks. Everybody knows. Nobody is caught on. Oh wait, there's this movie called Wag the Dog that was very popular. Normies get it now. Okay. But I just thought that was it's just so funny for so many, I guess, I feel like obvious reasons. It's like, so what are you trying to say, man? I guess he's trying to go for the old hypocrisy move against the libs, but like there's something even more backward about the comparison, and then the fact that, I mean, again, it's this full circle thing of like he's fulfilling the prophecy, like carrying out all the shit that he claimed, Obama was just about to do. I do also think, just as far as like the psychology of Trump goes on the whole thing, like the way I started thinking about it was like, in his mind, he thinks this is going to be just as smooth as the last one in June.
Right.
The ancient times of June 2025, when we did this before. Although this time does seem more dire. But Trump is a moron, I've heard rumors. And in his mind, he's like, first I had the 12-day war. Remember how he was like insisting that it lasted 12 days because he had already named it in the 12-day war?
Right.
He was so obsessed with the optics of that or whatever. Like, I believe the war technically went on for like several days more than 12. But it was just like, nope, it's 12.
Yeah.
15 is 12 now. But,
well, he just really wanted it to be 12 so that people could call it the Fuck 12 War.
Maybe his plan now is to drag it out to the late date of 18 days. To sort of signal.
Oh, because he can be like, I love when things are 18.
Yes.
I love it when they're 18 or older. Only.
Even older
That's
is
the only
good.
thing I care about. Yeah.
And then
he's older than 18.
And then he starts denying that he ever obsessively, insanely wanted to call it the 12-year war. Because that would be disgusting and only something that's pervert like Jeffrey Epstein would do.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's not me. Minimum 18, always. 12? who would even bring him up?
Yeah, who would dare? God damn, a lot of this stuff just feels so repetitive, though. I mean, it's like, I hate to like sound so dismissive or whatever. I mean, that's obviously not what I really mean. I'm not dismissing this as like, it doesn't matter, but it's just the same shit every fucking time. And like,
Sure.
in multiple levels. It's like, this is the same as 2003. This is the same as June of last year. Like, it's all just basically going exactly the same way. And it makes one feel a little bit crazy, including the way that the opposition party, a phrase no one should be
call them the ops.
A phrase no one should be able, or a name no one should be able to call the fucking Democrats ever.
Right.
A straight face, of course.
What kind of bull is this? Yeah, that's the famous Schumer quote.
Right. Yeah, all the usual suspects, but it's like, it's not even just the usual suspects. I mean, I have written here Jeffries, Schumer, Oaf. I think you guys know who Oaf might be. Yeah, they just do the thing where they're like, here's all the reasons Iran is pure evil. Next paragraph. However, Mr. Trump didn't ask permission or fill out the correct forms. You know, just, it's the same thing. Procedure, decorum. That's all they can possibly muster up as like something to object against. Not murder. I don't think a single one of them had anything to say about the girls' elementary school being obliterated.
Listen, I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with talking about underage girls. I don't know, again, like we were just talking about, Trump is not interested in underage girls, so God. Of course he's not going to talk about that. Get over it.
Holy fuck, that's why they're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. And then
move on.
Silver lining, Rashida Tlaib, possibly the only decent statement of anyone in all of Congress, perhaps all of the United States government. And I'm sure if I could even read hers, I could probably find some room to insert harsher language. But no, anyway, she's still good. We got one, possibly two or three, I don't know, okay people in the government. And yes, same shit with the other side. The fascists are being fascist and doing all of the classic, what I keep referring to over and over again as the Alex Jones's brain being torn into two pieces because the cognitive dissonance is too much to handle.
Right.
About the only pro-peace ticket carrying out 7 wars in a year. Which I also have written down here. Just wondering how Trump's going to square this away with his constant refrain of ending 7, 8, 9, possibly 25 wars.
Right. Again, like we said, he's got to start more wars to end more wars.
Yes, exactly.
And plus, I think he's over that, though, right? Because didn't he get mad and he told... What did he tell? He told, like, Sweden to fuck them because they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever?
No, right. I mean, he still says it, though.
So, I think he's over it.
Well, he still says the line, though, because it's like one of the handful of talking points that he can conjure up when he's in front of a camera or whatever. But just thinking about the war math there. And to drive home how all of this shit is just an extension of the neocon revolution of the Bush era. And I don't know. Go back to Reagan. I don't know. It's all just a continuation of going abroad and destroying nations for, I'll say, slightly suspicious reasons that I'm not totally sure are real. To drive that home, I've got a little clip here from Benjamin Norton, a guy I used to bring up all the time. I still like him a lot. He's the best. He does very good political analysis and whatnot at his unfortunately very kind of boringly titled YouTube channel, Geopolitical Economy Report, formerly Multipolarista. But he plays here a clip from back in the early 2000s when General Wesley Clark talks about the game plan that was being laid out by all the architects of the War on Terror, and I feel like it's worth listening to, especially at this very moment. And here we go.
And it must be emphasized, this is not just about Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of people are focusing on the internal politics in the U.S. and Israel. You know, the U.S. has a midterm election coming up in 2026. Netanyahu has faced charges of corruption that are very well documented. And certainly Trump and Netanyahu want to increase support domestically, and they want to be remembered in history as the leaders who overthrew the revolutionary Iranian government. But this goes back much longer. This is not just about the individual leaders today in the U.S. and Israel. The U.S. empire has been trying to overthrow the Iranian government for decades. Immediately after 9/11, after the attacks on September 11th, 2001, the former top U.S. military general Wesley Clark, who was a commander of NATO, he revealed that the Pentagon made plans to overthrow 7 governments in West Asia and North Africa. Those governments were Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. And the U.S. succeeded in overthrowing the governments in 6 of those.
I just want to say, because you can't see it, listeners, or even you, Tim, I guess, right now, the map he showed of that, it just made me realize when you put all those countries together that you just listed, that is just what Greater Israel is supposed to be.
Right.
Purely.
It's just the entire Middle East, yeah.
It's just Greater Israel, which I recently discovered. There is an outline of what that would look like on the map, Greater Israel, on the official patches of the IDF, which I guess shouldn't.
Hell yeah.
I sound shocked, but I'm not, I guess. Anyway, just to continue with the clip.
7 countries. The only remaining country is Iran. Listen here to this very revealing admission by a former top U.S. military general. And keep in mind, he said this 2 decades ago, before anyone ever thought in a million years that Donald Trump would become president.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the joint staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." He said, "I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
So again, it must be emphasized that this U.S.-Israeli war of aggression against Iran has nothing to do with nuclear weapons. Iran does not have nuclear weapons and has not tried to get nuclear weapons. If Iran had nuclear weapons, the U.S. and Israel would not be attacking it right now.
I had seen that clip before, probably a bunch of times, because I think Ben Norton brings it up a lot, because, I don't know, it kind of proves a lot of various points if you're talking about geopolitics or whatever, but just seeing the order that he listed the countries in was like kind of bone chilling to me in a little bit of a way, in a little way, because that is like exactly the order in which we have destabilized and fucked up those countries.
Right.
And then here we go, final boss, Iran. And yeah, that list that's spanning what, how many presidential administrations? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, that list was getting checked off by every single fucking one of them, including Hopi Changey Droney. I don't know. All I gotta say is
I don't like the guy.
So I guess, I'm sure even as we're talking right now, more horrific shit is unfolding with this new war. Aside from the targeting of the school by Israel, a shocking development from the IDF. Aside from that, I don't even know if there's any point in getting into the specifics right now. So I'm kind of out of stuff to say about this development. And I think it's probably safe to say It'll be lingering somewhat next week. Unless Trump is going full nihilist and he's just gonna say, yeah, I'm in the files. Yeah, I fuck kids.
Right.
And he's gonna be like, this is gonna be the 2-day war.
This
if you know what
6-day war.
If you know what I'm saying. I fuck babies, folks. We love it. We love it, don't we, folks? When I fuck infants.
Ooh. Get that drop. Someone get that drop. We love fucking infants.
Well, also
everyone has to.
Because my Trump impersonation is so bad, you could probably make it sound like I'm confessing to
Yes,
that.
of course. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the whole point of catching the drop.
Okay.
Is you saying we love fucking infants. Don't we? Don't we all?
But I feel like if you could somehow switch it to I instead of we.
Yeah.
The we gives away that I'm doing the Trump thing. But anyway.
True.
More on that next week. How to ruin my life with a sound clip.
Oh no! Oh, I thought you meant next week we were going to do how to fuck an infant.
Oh,
listen, folks, it's the same as getting into Carnegie Hall.
Hachi machi.
I wish I could cheer you up, but I can't.
All right, so
we're not all dead yet, right? So there's at least that.
No, there's some of us left to be abused by secret police.
Oh.
So way back in the times when there were the 2026 Olympics happening, so long ago, I did want to mention the absurdity back then of the idea that ICE was going to be doing security at the Olympics or whatever the fuck.
They were like, who do we pay? Who do we pay that really doesn't have much on their plate? Like, ICE, they're just kind of sitting around. They don't do a ton. Okay, cool. We can kind of use them as auxiliary police force to fill in during the Olympics, right? Yeah, that won't be an issue.
I mean, ultimately, I think it didn't end up happening, is what I last read, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I was talking about the next Olympics, because they're scheduled to contract with the idea that the Olympics in Los Angeles are going to be secured by ICE. ICE is going to be working security detail.
Oh, right.
That's like on the books.
Which is, all kinds of bad news, if you ask me.
Personally, I don't like the guy. When it comes to ICE.
There's something even funnier, though, about imagining those fucking ice pigs tripping over their own feet in Milan is just even more ridiculous. But I don't believe they ended up going to Italy. And there was some, protest and pushback amongst the Italians about that. But then also they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, Jesus, even more ancient news, the fucking Super Bowl, which I also believe ultimately didn't happen. Did you hear anything about that?
I can't say that I recall.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like more of that, like, it was just kind of like a threat / rumor thrown out there that I think didn't come to fruition. But the idea of it, again, is pretty funny to me. Just purely hilarious.
Right.
And then also, Steve Bannon was out there talking about how we need to have ICE guarding the fucking voting booths.
That's true.
Because Trump wasn't telegraphing it hard enough that he's really trying his damnedest to steal the election, the upcoming election.
Right. So
Bannon had to get out there and make it more explicit and obvious. I mean, I had this thing from before about like all of ICE's operation names and how, I mean, headline here, from Operation Dirtbag to Catch of the Day, Trump's ICE nicknames ripped as disgusting and subhuman. And fuck you, Fortune magazine. I will not pay to read the rest of this.
Yeah, no thanks.
Suffice to say, they do some gross shit, even with the names. And if I remember right, there was some even just kind of like illiterate sounding shit, which ties into this idea that ICE recruits are like, they tend to tend to hire more towards the dumb side of things, it seems like.
Sure.
But there was an ICE whistleblower who testified recently about all kinds of internal atrocities within the DHS, and he'll probably turn up dead soon enough. But until then, I guess...
We can only hope.
Thanks for blowing the whistle. Had an extreme too many tabs dementia moment there. Speaking of dementia, circling way back to the Joe Biden sighting.
Oh, yes.
Joe Biden looking as mummified as ever on a commercial flight to somewhere for some reason. Why? I have no idea. And I noticed that he must have had, obviously assistants and whatnot with him, but he did sort of look like he was just sitting there like a lost man in first class.
Sure.
The only other thing I saw come out of that, though, was that one woman, in a rather polite way, brought up the suffering of children in Gaza. And the most notable thing about it to me was that Biden had that deer in headlights look on his face and tried to respond to her, and she just walked away as he was fumbling over his words. She was like, children are dying every day, starvation, and he just goes, I know that. And that's the last thing, that was the only,
hell yeah,
intelligible thing he could get out was, I know that. So to me, it just came off as, yeah, I fucking know, I did that.
Right.
But, that's me reading into things a little bit, but...
Who do you think you're telling?
No, and he probably was trying to think of the words I also care about that kind. What?
No, and we're trying to fix it. Yeah.
It almost makes me as sad as when a scoop of ice cream falls off the cone.
Oh my god. A single chocolate drop falls from his eye as he watches the ice cream scoop hit the ground.
My mind just went off into various versions of the Native American / I think he was just a Sardinian guy who did that famous PSA about littering. I assume that's what you're slightly referencing with the single tier. No, I was just imagining different and oh no, this just is the AIification of everything infecting your brain? Because in my mind's eye, I pictured a kind of parody version of that with different people, like Trump doing it, when they crumple the Epstein files and throw it on the ground and he has a single tear or something like that. But I'm picturing it all in disgustingly obvious AI as well, which disturbs me slightly.
I gotta give quick shout out to friend of the podcast / doesn't know that the podcast exists, Jake Flores, for his tweet that basically encapsulates the thing I was saying earlier about that the timeline just continues to move on even as things are going.
Yeah,
this is to directly read out the tweet. The utter indignity of witnessing all of this and still going to work and paying taxes. And that's exactly what I meant. Everyone just going along, continuing on as if nothing is happening, while literally it's the fall of empire / we're going into World War III basically, or whatever. I think I said it in the Discord, but it's it's the Great Reset, except for the reset is just the America / Iran war. They're going to reset everything. You'll own nothing and you'll like it, is basically what's about to happen. Because last time Trump pulled this shit, I guess we had already moved on from this, but I'm just it's crazy, man.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I was just I'm having Alzheimer's moments today. I was like, what the fuck was I about to say? The idea about people moving on with their lives as if nothing's happening. Like, I sometimes almost forget that everyone isn't like me and like internalizing all this shit all day to some degree or another. I mean, I'm making myself sound way too much like a fucking martyr or some shit, but like,
Sure.
I'm just saying, like, the difference between like the political news sickos and everyone else. I sometimes forget how stark it is and how many more of the non-sickos there are until I like actually talk to them and I'm like reminded, or like people who know that it's fucked up and wrong and are just like, what the fuck can anybody do about it? Does your body being in physical pain from feeling sick about all this death and destruction help to end it in any way? No, I guess not. But then there's also the like paradox of like, but then also the only way to stop shit like this is to raise consciousness and like spread ideas and keep yapping about it. So it's this whole bind of sorts. But of course it's a bind that is enviable to a lot of the rest of the, I don't know, let's say abused world. So I should be thankful or whatever. Yeah, I guess we were moving on from that. I guess just a couple of more bits about fucking ice bullshit. So
fuck.
I mean, most of this on the list here is like too old and frankly too depressing at this point in the episode to bring up even.
A lot of
such as a 5-year-old
who articles are. Well, I was gonna say a lot of these articles are too old for Donald Trump. Continuing on. What was that about a 5-year-old?
Yeah, like I was saying, too old for Trump. Yeah. A 5-year-old who was kidnapped to the Dilley, Texas children's concentration camp by ICE is being denied bond due to, quote, lack of assets. I mean, I know it's not like this only happened to this one kid, right? But there's something particularly striking to me about the lack of assets language there. And actually, you know what? Fuck it. I think this clip is pretty short. Let's play it, and maybe this will suffice for talking about ICE this week. Because, again, I have a feeling something might come up soon in future episodes. But here is, I believe, the lawyer who is trying to help this kid out, talking to the press about this.
Bond these 5-year-olds by an immigration judge in part based on a lack of property and a lack of assets. That was in a separate decision about each of these children. How much property does a 5-year-old need to not be deemed a significant flight risk? Is the judge counting pieces of candy? Stuffed animals? How is the immigration judge determining how much property a 5-year-old needs to own in order to not be a flight risk? They're having an extremely difficult time. They wake up crying every night. Their mother they wake up crying, mama, mama. They're worried that they're going to get separated from her just like they've been separated from their older sister. We ask that the population contribute to the family's GoFundMe so that we can establish that they do have property and they do have assets and that they deserve to be out and fight their removal case from outside this internment camp.
I mean, I have only one thing to say about that. And,
Somalia!
Is that where they're going to send them?
There's something about the Trump Somalia that to me sounds like you're in pain a little bit. I felt like it fit there somehow.
Wow. It's just obviously it's disgusting. You know, it's fucking weird. You know, it's just, yeah.
I'm playing that one, I think, for the historical record, we'll say. Because, what the fuck else do you say about that? Did we, just in case we didn't mention this on the last episode or whatever, that fucking most transparent administration in history says masked secret police agent of Donald Trump thing. Did we mention that? I mean, that's kind of all there is to it, I guess.
Oh, I don't recall, actually.
I think it was just like someone who's like, keeping eyes on ICE agents, and they walk by they're like in a parked car, and I think it was just a guy by himself. But yeah, he's all masked up, whatever, looking like a fucking stormtrooper, and he defended what he's doing with, "This is the most transparent administration in history."
Yeah, well, he's wearing a mask and an unmarked fucking vehicle, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's you can't make this shit up, folks. I mean, actually, that just sounds that I did see the video, so I know it's not just an Onion headline, but that is not very much an Onion headline. But then that also reminded me of this thing I noticed recently, which was that when they handed out those fucking binders to all the conservative influencers to like try to get everyone to shut up about the Epstein. Women? Yes, the binders. The binders full of little girls, please.
Little girls, yeah.
Yeah, that whole fake stunt, whatever. We all know about that, right? On those binders from Donald Trump, the most transparent administration in history, the Epstein files.
Hell yeah. That's right.
Much like the aforementioned thing about the this is the anti-war ticket thing. Like I had never seen it like written so like officially before. So I don't know. Is that something everyone else has noticed already besides me? Because it felt new to me. Customs and Border Patrol supervisor arrested after allegedly harboring illegal immigrant girlfriend, who is also his niece.
Oh. That's always good.
Now, this is in the New York Post, an outlet I would call pro-ICE. I don't know. You know what? I'm not even going to get into the fucking article. Who cares? You got it.
You get it.
You get it. But more like this shit is going to happen over and over and over again. And like maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, prayers to nothingness. Maybe enough of this kind of shit will help take down the agency from the inside. I don't know. Or at least just cause people to like, it's just that whole thing of like, people don't see what's the problem until it happens to them, whatever. The fucking, is that what the leopard's face eating shit? Is that what that is? When leopards eat one's face?
The leopard face eating party. Yeah.
Oh, and of course, for more abysmal news, this time, like, it's, I don't know, maybe doubly abysmal, even whatever. I don't want to compare murder victims here, murder victims of ICE, but nearly blind Rohingya refugee dies in Buffalo after being, quote, dropped off miles from home by Customs Border Patrol agents. This got a fair amount of coverage, but I kind of felt like it got far less coverage than other ICE crimes, and I think it's unfair, and I think I'm usually not an identity politics, pushing type, but if you look at the appearance of the three victims of ICE over the last, 2 entire weeks now or something, the one getting the least amount of sympathy, it seems, from my little singular anecdotal experience on the internet, is the blind guy who, he's not the photogenic white, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I don't think it's a coincidence that people care less. It just seems like they cared less about this one. And it's it's just as horrible, at least, if not possibly worse. I don't know. I don't really want to get into that comparison game. But again, for the historical record, I guess. I mean, we're all bummed out here, right?
Yeah.
But the last chunk of things is the Epstein 3.5 million new pages, whatever. some stuff that it didn't manage to get around to the last go around on that, which I guess is also kind of just more of the same in a lot of ways, but it feels important to get the information out there. And I'm not talking about this podcast. I'm just speaking generally about
what is it? Jmail?
Jmail.
The website that's like the database for searching through it. It's important to have it on the record or whatever.
Yes. Use Jmail, by the way. I think it's probably one of the better ways to snoop around the old files. But of course, there's been like millions of other examples of fuckery by Department of Justice, removing things that absolutely shouldn't be removed, like testimony accusing the President of the United States of raping a 13-year-old. It's not relevant. It's not relevant to the Epstein files. But there was this one email that just like, because they're all like hard to read, disgusting, gross. So I'll just read one of them and leave it at that. But like, this is the pattern that you see thousands and thousands and thousands of times in these fucking files. Just so far, people are obviously still like combing through them. New Brazilian just arrived. Okay, this is email to Jeffrey Epstein. New Brazilian just arrived. Sexy and cute. 9 years old. Now, you might be wondering, who the fuck wrote that? Wouldn't we like to know who said this to Jeffrey Epstein directly? You know what? If you found an email in anyone's email box, free of all context, you still might have some questions about what the fuck is this email?
Yeah.
But then when it's written to Jeffrey Epstein,
the king of pedophiles,
disgraced financier, as they like to call him.
Yeah.
It's all he's known for. Mild disgrace and finances that he also, I mean, both, like both things are not even true. Anyway, you get my point. But then maybe some new ones that came up. I mean, I had a bunch of more. We've talked a lot about the disgrace of Chomsky. I did want to mention that a guy who like actually co-wrote a book with Chomsky, Vijay Prashad, who's a very based, cool guy who you see on the old political podcast, YouTube, whatever circuit a lot. He wrote a thing about it saying, and just completely, condemning Chomsky for being a fool, whatever. And then Chris Hedges did the same thing, who is a big fan of Chomsky. My point is just that, like, there are a few, they're probably, I guess they'd be better called liberals than leftists out there who are still, like, making excuses for him, including Norm Finkelstein, very disappointingly, I would say. But also, the thing I read from Norm about Chomsky was, I don't know, before maybe some of the even more damning shit came out. I don't know. See, now I'm making excuses for Finkelstein here, but anyway, all this shit about like all the use of coded language in the files seems to be giving a lot of legitimacy to Pizzagate, which is fucking crazy, and to some degree, because that was the one that, like, everyone wrote off as like bullshit. It's like, yes, the pedophile ring is real, but the Comet Ping Pong thing is just crazy nonsense. But at the very least, the idea that food, including pizza prominently, is being used as such obvious code word for sex trafficking, that's where the legitimizing maybe begins and ends of Pizzagate. That's also been nauseating to look at.
Right.
But it also ties into this idea that I think is a little more interesting too, about like how a lot of these connections that I think were like speculated about in the past are able to be more confirmed now, about the connections between Epstein, Ghislaine, and basically the entire like 4chan, Pizzagate, QAnon pipeline. Part of the evidence was that Ghislaine was like a longtime moderator of the 4chan. I don't know 4chan. What do you even call it? Poll slash.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of, conjecture, speculation, but when it's like, when you're dealing with these people and you look at the shit in these files, it's just like, I don't know, like how much How much dispassionate objectivity do you expect us to have when we examine the evidence here? But basically, the idea was to muddy the waters, to basically put a buffer between the Epstein-Ghislaine sex trafficking network by making up all this loony-sounding, tabloid-sounding bullshit, so that and then you mix it in with the real stuff, which is the Epstein pedophilia ring, and then maybe you can just dismiss it all as horse shit, right? That was seems to be the game plan they were going for, and frankly, it fucking worked for a while.
For the most part, yeah, it's still kind of working. You still kind of hear people saying stuff like that, yeah.
But the only people really talking about Epstein in any serious way were either fringe leftists or fringe freaks on 4chan who didn't really even give a shit about it. And then I guess your Meemaw, Peepaw, MAGA people who maybe actually do care about abusing children, but maybe care about it more when it's Bill Clinton's genitals involved rather than Donald Trump's. But anyway, I digress. Mike Johnson chides DOJ for tracking lawmakers' perusal of unredacted Epstein files. Say what? The two things I got out of this article were that it's funny that Mike Johnson is trying to come to the defense of the privacy of anybody, especially his political enemies. So that, shows to me that this is a little bit of a, hey, look over here, not over there at that part of the whole Epstein thing. But it also just made me laugh because just the word tracking made me think of one of the early things we all learned about Mike Penis early on, which is that he and his son are porn accountability tracking buddies together.
Right.
So it's hypocrite much, Mike Johnson. I suppose he could jujitsu that shit against me and say that his son at least was a willing participant in the mutual tracking.
There is something that I think gets overlooked when people talk about Mike Johnson and his son and that porn tracking accountability stuff, is that I think his son is adopted.
He has an adopted son, but he also has...
Okay. He has...
biological son?
Real sons. And, yeah, he has bio children and adopted children.
Yeah. We talked about his adopted son before, and just, the weirdness of it, when you adopt an adult, basically. Right. I think that's what it was.
Well, he was 14, but yeah.
Okay. Someone else adopted an adult. Wasn't it Matt Gaetz? They both adopted...
Yes. Matt Gaetz adopted an adult Brazilian boy. Or Cuban or something, yeah.
Matt Gaetz, has he had anything to say about sex crimes in the last couple months?
He's trying to lay low, man.
I bet.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so yeah, they have 5 children, and one of them is adopted, so I can't say for sure that the accountability son is the adopted one. That would make it very weird, right?
It somehow does. It makes a weird thing even slightly weirder, probably, yeah.
Right.
Mike Johnson, defending himself. No, I didn't do that with my butt. And actually, he's just the other way around. It's it's not incest, he's adopted. It's
yeah, right.
I was talking earlier about the concentric circles of the least bad shit going out to the worst bad shit. Maybe we could just
right.
end on the fact that the EPA reverses longstanding climate change finding. This seems bad. An already bad situation.
Right?
An already slightly not ideal situation. A bit worse. So yeah, even if all of this shit gets fixed, expect to probably be burning alive in a few decades. And I did see an odd article, at least an odd headline. The art, this is more clickbait shit probably, but Some scientists think we should stop cleaning up the plastic that is trashing Earth's oceans. This is from Earth.com. I believe, I read this a while ago, I believe the long and short of it essentially was like, marine life is just adapting already, so.
Yeah.
No, there was, I mean, it was a very, like, obviously kind of depressing article because the scientists are calling for this. They're not just like idiotically like, yeah, leave the trash everywhere. Like, they're actually trying to like pragmatically find a way out of this little bit of a bind the globe seems to be in. But I guess that's all she wrote. Yeah, let's talk Kash Patel and Bongino another day, if ever.
Yeah.
Oh, final thing. Jeffrey Epstein's one-word response to the news that RFK Jr.'s wife committed suicide was, whoops.
Oh.
Now in my notes, the W is capitalized because I'm a human with something resembling a soul.
Mm-hmm.
But Epstein's was that should be lowercase. You best believe. Because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But there is the the people who are like reading the tea leaves who say that Epstein used the term "whoops" as code for like a contract killing. Like,
yeah.
A whoops was someone that they killed. So him saying, talking about RFK wife suicide and saying whoops, I think somewhat disproves that point in that he just liked to use that term that way because he's being a bit of an edgelord, isn't he?
Yeah.
Referring to anyone dying as a whoopsie is like, that's like classic fucking, that's some Reddit style. Oh, look at me. I'm like I'm an atheist or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't care. Oh, you died. Whoopsie. Darwin Award on aisle 12. Like that's the kind of, that's what he was doing. And the people who read into it to mean like, oh, every time he says whoops, he's talking about having someone killed. No, he's just an idiot.
He is probably just an idiot. I kind of gave some credence to the idea that he could have put a hit out on his friend's wife. I don't put that past him. But no, I mean, I lean far more towards the he's just being an edgelord piece of shit. Yes.
General recommendations? Because I got one.
Nice. Sorry, I'm just doing one sweep of due diligence here. There are a bunch of video and audio files too that got released with this big old new dump.
Well, yeah, Trump's president, so all the PDO files are getting released.
It's of an unidentified podcaster having a phone call with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's play the clip.
Adult baby.
That's right.
All right. General recommendations. You got one. Go for it.
I just watched a movie-style film called Sound of Metal. It's from 2019. It's from the Before Times. It's in the Criterion Collection. It stars Riz Ahmed as a drummer for a kind of like art metal band, who like midway through a few sets and on tour starts to go deaf and then has to deal with it. And it's like a pretty intense story / movie / I guess say tour de force. Riz Ahmed, a pretty sick actor, and this is like a movie that's like all built around him. He's like the focal point. Everyone else is kind of there, and then like the fact that you're dealing with like losing sound, losing hearing, lots of like long periods of time with just like disorienting noises and not necessarily like just like audio, just makes it so like basically you have to carry the entire like thrust of the film through his acting, and he fucking delivers. So it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it yet. It's a what do they say, heart-wrenching film. Yeah, it's just like it's definitely, if you're interested in something like that that's like very small, you know what I mean, like a a really small bit of filmmaking that's, again, based around high level of like performance from one person with like a few solid like supporting roles / story, but mostly it's about really just like one person like delivering big time emotion. It'll definitely be up your alley.
Nice. Let's see. I will recommend a little place I call Thailand, which I just returned from, I don't know, yesterday? Yeah, something like that. It's a very cool place. I went to a little place called Phuket, which for a long time before I ever heard the word said out loud, I assumed must be pronounced Phuket.
Yeah.
But that was mostly just to land at the airport there, and then went to Krabi, another province, by boat, and then another hilarious sounding island, but very cool place called Phi Phi Island. That's Phiphi, but pronounced like pee pee.
Yeah, like what I just did in my pants.
I had a very nice time there, and I more generally will just recommend traveling, which is like a thing that obviously is like usually pretty expensive and feels like an impossibility for the working class, and it can be, but if you can swing it somehow, I strongly suggest it. It's not something I thought I'd ever be able to do. Like when I was living in America, like the idea of like getting on a plane to anywhere within my own country was like ridiculous most of the time. Just never had the money. So then maybe more broadly, I'm saying leave America, come to Asia, somewhere in the little continent of Asia, and you too will find it easier to travel to more countries. All right, folks, what you want to do is go to the episode description, find the link to our Discord, go to it, join the Discord, say hi.
That's right.
We were there was more chatter in there than usual the last 24 hours or so. Quite a bit more, I would say. I think. I don't know. I mean, a lot of it is me.
Of course. There's a lot of, and there's also a lot of interesting, times going on right now. So of course people are going to talk about it.
True. So do that. Check out the other things in the description. You can see show notes, etc., etc., etc. And you can also see links to places where you can find Tim's other podcast, which is
Violent People. ViolentPeople.co is where you will find the important stuff. You can check out the monthly roundup of matches recommended by my good friend Core Whoa, I think is not how it's said, but it's how I said it for many years until I was told it's Core Wow. That's like the best stuff on there. I do a podcast on there sometimes, but it's been a while. Looks like percolating. There might be an episode coming up soon that'll be very fun, but nothing is for certain in this crazy mixed up world. We all might be dead by next week.
I was scrolling through the drops, and the way you ended what you were just saying could have ended really well with this one.
Please clap.
That's right. That's right.
All right, that'll do it, folks. And as everyone who's ever lived always says,
Holes! I need holes!
Good night, good luck, good morning, Vietnam.
all night, my typewriter. She could be my demon moving forward through flaming doors. You have to lose. You have to learn how to die. If you wanna be alive. You have to lose. You have to lose. You have to learn how to die. If you wanna be alive. You have to die. You have to die. You have to learn how to die. If you wanna be alive. Okay.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?